thank you all for coming. My name is Rebecca, and I'm WGSN's swimwear trend forecaster and editor. This is the third annual SWIMLAB in collaboration with WGSN and Swim Show, and we're so excited to have four amazing brands here again for a panel. And this is actually the most international panel that we've had. These brands cover 4 continents, so we're really, really excited to have them here and get to know them a little better. So, Ikemana, we're going to start with you. Awesome. This is Sophie and Fran.
Yes, I'm Fran.
I'm Fran.
I'm Sophie.
And you're from?
We're from Chile, but we live here in Miami, so we're local here.
Perfect. And we've got Sophie over here from Australia, from Saint Somebody. And then we've got Masha from Masha Swim, who is all the way from Slovenia.
Slovenia,
yeah. Yeah, representing Europe.
Yes.
And then at the end here we've got Pili and Adriana from Colombia, from Applaud. Sorry, from Applaud. So welcome them all. Thank you so much for being here. So, girls, we'll start with you. You're sisters.
Yes.
What's it like? No? What's it like working together as sisters?
I love it. Honestly, she's my twin, not twin. We're 5 years apart. And I mean, I think it's the best thing that has ever happened to me to work with this beautiful lady.
Oh, that's so sweet. So I'm really excited to feature an activewear swim brand. It's inspired by kite surfing, correct?
Yes.
So this is the first active-inspired swim brand we've had at SWIMLAB. So tell us why you started the brand. Like, what inspires you?
So I don't kite surf yet. I have to. But Fran would come home and she would just not feel comfortable with any suit, doing any tricks in the water. So she would always complain, say, don't look too closely, but you can tell she has a little bit big of a chest. I did not inherit that in the family. But so she did not feel comfortable, so she ended up wearing sports bras all the time, which was not ideal because they would get damaged with the salt water. So one day she's like, you know what, there's got to be something, and we couldn't find anything in the market. So she was like, let's do it together, and we complement each other so well because we're very different but similar at the same time. So it's been great.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so I'm a professional kite surfer, and I would just be so frustrated with not being able to wear, a bathing suit and do tricks and not being wiped out. So we were actually in a family trip, and I told my brother, this is my problem. He's like, you should do a brand. Like, I think this would work out. And he's like, it's like wearing something and then, don't end up naked unless you want to. We're like, whoa,
Genius.
That's
our slogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's such a good time for active swimwear. I feel like activewear brands are becoming a little bit more fashion and vice versa. So it's a really good time to be an active inspired swimwear brand.
Yeah.
So you're from Chile, you've got a Chilean background. How does that influence your designs and the stories that you tell?
Sure. I'll take this one. So for Ikemanu actually means flying fish in Rapa Nui, which is Easter Island, the language of Easter Island, which is a Chilean island. And one of the prints we have right now is the moais. I don't know if you guys have seen on Easter Island, they have these big moais, so that's really cool.
It's like these stones that the natives carved into faces, and they're all lying next to each other, and everyone wonders how the frick did they get to move all these huge stones right next to each other. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like Stonehenge, but in that island. So we love Easter Island because it's part of the Polynesian area, so the weather is just so nice, and it's also a good combination from our country and Miami weather. So I think that's why we chose that inspiration.
Amazing. And you've got little kite surfers on one of your prints as well, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
We have a model. Maybe come over. We'll show one of our suits. This one's amazing because it really shows your waist with this side over there. So it's very comfortable. All of these, they have UV protection. So they're all amazing. And they're made with recycled bottles.
So it's flattering performance wear.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you mentioned it's made with recycled bottles, recycled materials. Why is that so important? And I know that you also have a partnership with Inversa. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Sure, yeah. All of our suits are made out of recycled bottles and they have UV protection, so they're eco-friendly. And with climate change these days, you need to have something that protects you from the sun, so that's really important for us.
Especially now, the weather has been crazy hot now, and definitely we think about climate change all the time, especially now.
Yeah. So within Versa, what we're doing, Versa is a company that removes lionfishes from the coral reefs. If you don't know, lionfishes are an invasive species and they kill coral reefs, and the coral reefs are lungs to the ocean. So for every swimsuit you buy, you're removing one lionfish from the ocean. So you get a certificate.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking us through your brand.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on now to Australia. We're going to travel and we're going to end up in Australia, down under with Sophie from Saint Somebody.
G'day.
G'day. And you're a size-inclusive swimwear brand, is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, size inclusive. The background to that is that like these guys, was looking in the market for something and couldn't find it, and then I just thought to myself, well, if no one's going to do it, it's got to be me. But I think what I found along the way was that there were size inclusive brands or brands who were extending their sizing already. However, the way they did that was really just taking their sample size and then just blowing it up to make it bigger, but the original design, how it was supposed to fit and look, was lost. And so that person who is in a bigger body, even though it seemed like they were being catered for, they really weren't being considered. So what I do is completely different, where my sample is like a US 12, so kind of in the middle of my size range. My size range is US 4 to 24. So I take the sample size in the middle and then I grade down and up from there. Even some of the other sizes I might change the design so that original design, how it's supposed to look, looks right on every size.
That's so interesting that you say that, because the most important thing with swimwear we always find is the fit. Like, if it doesn't fit, you're not going to feel good.
That's right.
And you're so right about the samples. Brands often have a really small sample size and just grade up and hope it fits.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting that you sample from right in the middle of your size range.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Thank you.
So your brand also says that it utilizes ethical and sustainable production philosophies. Can you talk us through what some of those might be?
Sure, yeah. So from the whole way through my business, from the production to the distribution, and using biodegradable mailers, and with the fabric I use water-based inks, so there's less toxic. I've just considered, trying to consider everybody in the process, and especially the workers who make the pieces. Some of the styles are quite complex and require quite a high level of skill, and I have been there myself to make sure that everybody is well and truly looked after in good conditions, and it's a small team, and so that's really important to me, to make sure that nothing's being harmed in the process.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the packaging as well, because it's not just the actual garments and the production, it's everything else around it that we can make like small changes to then make a bigger impact.
Yeah, and I think small brands actually lead the way with, I mean, I'm sure you guys are the same. Like, we do everything we can possibly do to the recycled fabrics, everything. So hopefully the bigger brands might, I think we're kind of leading the way in that sense.
So being from the Southern Hemisphere, being from Australia, do you think there are any particular obstacles that you face specifically trying to grow or expand your brand? I know we've got some Sea Folly girls from Australia in the audience as well. Can you let us know?
Look, I think as these girls would know, when you come to the table saying you're an Australian swim brand, I think that automatically has people listening, because they know that Australians spend a lot of their time in a swimsuit at the beach. We kind of just grow up. That's a lot of our culture. So in that sense, no. Logistically, yes, obviously it's a long way. You really have to have a base here in whatever country you're going to. Like in the US, I think to be in Australia and not be here is too difficult. You really have to be on the ground. But now in today's age, we're so well connected, and warehousing and distribution is quite easy to set up.
Amazing.
So,
Thank you, Sophie. So we're going to move on to Masha from Masha Swim, and she comes all the way from Slovenia.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
welcome. So tell us how you started the brand. Who is the Masha woman?
Yeah, for me, it started young. I was like 10, 11 years old. I was on vacation with older girls. They were in high school, and as a little girl, you look up to them. And one of them was in fashion design in high school, and she gave me the templates of sketches, fashion design. And when I came back home, it was like in a week I was just drawing, and there was a pile of sketches, like 200 of them. And then years later, it was the idea, that's what I want to do. And I presented the idea to my father and got support from him, and that's when all started.
That's such a sweet story, as if you designed it when you were a kid. That's really sweet. So your brand is kind of focused on chic, sexy, feminine silhouettes. So how do you think like swimwear like that can help with confidence? Because it is one of the most important things.
Kind of, the feeling when you put a bikini on and it just empowers you. So it's just doing your own thing, being a woman, and embark that feeling.
The most flattering styles, so you use family-owned manufacturers, is that correct?
Yes.
Based in Croatia.
Yes.
So why did you choose to do that, and why is it so important?
It's important for me, the emotional connection also with the people that are doing your pieces, and you can be in the process from the start till the final steps, and it's that personal touch that really gives the level up for me.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing to be able to do, especially with small brands, to have that connection. So we're going to move on again to our final brand. Pili and Adriana from Applaud, welcome. And you're Colombian-based, yes?
Yes.
So first question, what is your inspiration for the designs and the prints?
Applaud, we like to get inspired by our lifestyles, by our locations. First of all, it was more, the regular bathing suit, but while we dive in, it's more, for example, this collection is based on Miami, but we inspired by what's surrounded, but then the fits are classic, and we go by the trends. And we like to expose and let the woman figure speak for themselves, and that's when we study the prints. For example, this is one of our new ones, and we see where the flowers hits, how the flower hits in different sizing and different woman shape. So we definitely base most of that.
Yeah, really thoughtful design to flatter. Yeah. Wow. So you focus a lot on retro-inspired cuts and silhouettes and reference the 80s and the 90s. So why is designing with nostalgia so important? Why does that inspire you?
Well, we both study design, and something that we had learned always from the 20s to the 90s, most of the design was made especially for the body. After the 90s, everything is a revival. So that's why we always love to go back to the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 70s and 80s when nylon started it. So we understand the fit, how they studies the body. But then when it comes to the prints, that's when we go locally and we get inspired with the surrounding.
So talk us through the fabrics that you choose and why you choose them.
Well, we're pro-sustainable, so we're also doing sustainable prints that's recycled bottles, which is this. And then we love to work with natural fibers and cotton and polyester. And depending on what the print it is, we see what is best for the fabric. The print, certain tones look better when it's satin, certain tones looks better when it's cotton. So we like to understand between the fabric to the print to the color scheme to everything to it.
Yeah, again, thoughtful design. Every thought is
We
put into
enjoy
everything.
every little piece of designing, to be honest.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm now going to ask you all some open questions. Anyone jump in and answer whenever you feel like you have something to say. Oh,
We'll share this one.
share the mics.
Yeah.
So you're all small brands trying to grow, trying to come up in the industry. So what are some of the issues that small brands like yourselves might face in today's market? Like what are some of the main pitfalls?
I think when you just start out, some manufacturing companies want you to produce in large batches, and you're just starting out, so you don't really know if that's going to be the end product. So you really need someone to collaborate with that can be open to small changes and then helping you along the way because you're a small business. And I think that's how I think women empowerment has been something great for small businesses because women want to help each other, and I think manufacturing in Colombia with other women have been super helpful because they support each other, and we've been able to grow that way. Yeah.
Amazing. And I guess that's why, like, your family-owned supplier, Masha, I guess that probably helps you with that.
Yeah, that helps us, yes. We don't have, like, great batches.
I want to add also marketing. I think that's like the
Marketing,
hardest.
yeah.
And for example, this panel, it's a grateful thing because it helps the small brands to get out there. So it definitely.
That's what we're here for, and that's what we
Yeah.
want. We want you all to remember these brands and know these brands for a long time, and go and visit them in the booths as well. So, how difficult is it trying to create a more sustainable brand in today's industry? Because it's so important now. Everyone wants more sustainability, more eco-friendly product.
Not difficult at all.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, being a smaller brand, maybe for larger brands to have to transition into being more sustainable, but there's sustainable fabrics, there's sustainable materials. There's so many ways you can send your product not polybagged individually. You can send it in reduce waste. So I think and especially for us, probably our pieces are probably more considered and the quality is quite high. So therefore they'll last longer, more than just one season.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And for example, us, we also use the scraps to make like accessories, like scrunchies and other stuff. So that way there's a full use of anything that we have leftovers.
Yeah, I
and
love
our packaging also is sustainable.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, just moving on from that, what role do you think consumers like us could play to help the swimwear industry be a little bit more sustainable?
I think using reusable bags. I feel like in the US we still have the plastic bags that we get everywhere, and we could just recycle that. You could have one of those small bags or the tote bags that we give out here. You could just keep it in your bag, and then every time you go to the ocean, you put back your bathing suit in there, you wash it by hand, and then you leave it there to dry. But I think small things like that would probably help. I don't know.
We'll make a change, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it differs in countries, because I know you said in the US there's a lot of plastic. I think in Europe there's a lot less. In the UK, I know
No.
there's a lot less. Is there not?
No.
Oh, well, in the UK, there's kind of a drive
Not a
for less
different
plastic
story.
bags. But there's
Yeah.
also a lot of legislation coming in Europe. I know, I'm not sure about the US, but I think the laws are going to be stricter and things like that.
Yeah, in Chile, I went really quick to grab a Coke one day, and the sir was like, okay, yeah, when you drink it, bring it back. And I'm like, why do you want my drink? And he's like, no, because we recycle them, so I guess they use the same glass bottle.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, we should do that in the U.S.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So now I just want to know, is there a swimwear trend now or from the past, from any time in history, that is your favorite swimwear trend ever? Tell us.
I love crochet personally. I think that's an all-timer, and I think it just looks so elegant every time you use that. So it's versatile. You could be in the ocean and use that, but then you could also be like a nice event with your bathing suit. It could be also really, really nice. I love crochet.
Yeah, my mom has a very nice orange one from her times, and I always take it because it always,
Ooh, proper vintage one.
yeah, very vintage, and I love it. It makes me feel so good.
Amazing. Sophie, do you have one?
That's a kind of a tough one because I go in waves, but I think at the moment my favorite is that kind of 90s, glamorous but but still very like a bit sporty and practical. Yeah, I'm loving that at the moment. Yeah.
Masha?
For me, it's the vintage cuts and the high cuts that elongates the legs.
Nice.
I'm short, so that's a big part for me. Yeah.
Billy?
I think
Oh,
the
sorry.
same. And also prints on prints.
Prince
I
on print.
love a good print on print on print. It's so much fun.
You can never have enough.
Can never have enough. I can live on that.
And finally, what is your favorite piece from all of your collections? So we'll start here.
That's a tough one. They're all so different.
It's hard to pick. If you asked me on our first collection, I could easily pick one. But in this one, they're all so different, and they're so unique, each one, and they all have their own thing. But maybe because Fran kites and I know her passion, I think the mini kiters one it's hitting.
Cute. Sophie, do you have a favorite piece?
Yeah, definitely. Probably just on that 90s glamour thing. The black with the white edging is my favourite. And also, I've kind of moved away from one piece as I'm practicing what I'm preaching, and rocking a bikini and the high-waisted bottoms, super high-waisted bottoms, and then just a plain bottom. You can mix and match the top. I'm loving that as well.
Masha?
Yeah, for me it's our samba bottom that have V cut inside.
Oh, the flattering
yeah,
V
and the
cut,
thigh
yeah.
side, yeah, and the allure top that has underwire top. So that's my favorite one.
Nice. Billy?
Our jellyfish one, not because I designed it. Truly, it was inspired by the discrepancy that we have with turtles in Miami, because the turtles are the one that eats the jellyfish, so it was an inspiration for awareness. And then it's just the print, the color, it's just fun. We love that.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. It was so lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
Yes, give them a big round of applause.
We have gifts for anybody that wants to come. We have some tote bags. We have some fun hat holders for everybody. So come by. We have some stickers. Would love to meet you guys.
Yes, you all have to go and check out the collections and see their favorite pieces, definitely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So much.